Dr. Steve O'Brien from Special Surgery on the injuries. Doc, welcome. How are you?
Hi, Mike. How are you today?
All right, Doc, we're going to really zero in on two today because they're very prominent guys and their injuries have gotten a tremendous amount of attention. First, let me start with the injury to Deshaun Watson yesterday that really horrified the NFL and really shocked the NFL. He was playing well. He had become kind of a darling in Houston. And again, we see one of these in-space, non-contact ACLs. The first question I have, Doc, is this. Is it more likely that it is an unstable knee that falls victim to that, or is it a regular knee that just has an accident?
Both can happen, Mike, and a lot depends on the type of surface you're on. A lot of athletes will have like what they consider a minor injury to their knee, and they may strain their ACL, and it's like a pre-cut piece of paper. What happens is it doesn't take a whole lot more torque for it to be a completed tear. So in looking up on Deshaun Watson, and I didn't get this, I got this from ESPN, that they reported that he hurt himself on a grass field on a read option drill. And that would tell me that although you can get hurt on any surface, he might have had something predisposing. Let me get to another part of what you just said now. And that is, we did a study, actually, Mark was one of the guys at our place, and I and some others did a study looking at the shoe-turf interaction. There's no question that when an athlete cuts on the new turf fields with the new turf shoes, it puts a much higher load on their knee, okay? So if you look at a guy like J.J. Watt that broke his tibia, non-contact, or you look at Terry Bridgewater, who dislocated his knee on, non-contact on turf, say, how the heck does that happen? Here's how it happens. The rate at which the torque develops is as important as the peak torque. So, for instance, to put it in layman's terms, if you're about to get hit, you have a brace.
Hold on, we got to stop, Doc. Let me see if you can get him on a better line there, Mons. We're talking with Dr. Steve O'Brien. He's in California, so we're having a little problem with our transmission right now. We'll try and get him on a better line because we lost him there. He's talking about the injury to Deshaun Watson, who yesterday went down for the season with the torn ACL and non-contact injury, meaning nobody hit him in space. And we've seen this time and time again with this injury. And the question I brought up was whether or not there was a previous injury, which sounds like there could have been in his case, but it doesn't always have to be with these ACL injuries, which happen quite frequently. We were just had a little trouble with the transmission, so we were working on that right now to get him back up. And he's with us now. There you go, Doc. Go ahead.
Sorry about that, Mike.
That's better. Perfect. Go ahead.
Not sure where you lost me, but the bottom line is the rate of development of the torque is as important as the peak torque, and I'll put that in English. If you're about to be hit, you brace yourself. You have a neuromuscular response. You may even have a brace, which will help lower that load. But it happens in a fraction of a second when these things happen, and there's no time for a neuromuscular response. And if the coefficient of friction between your shoe and the turf is too good, it'll put so much load on your knee, you can even dislocate your knee. And I've seen that right in front of my eyes. So the point is, where do we go with this? Well, the train's already left that most of the fields now are turf fields, and it's for economic reasons. They do they do concerts.
Sure.
Field, and it's now even filtered down to the kids. And one statistic which scares me is that in kids, there's been a 2.5% increase per year over the last 20 years with ACL injuries in kids. And I think that although there's a lot of things that can account for this, one of them has to be the torque and the turf. And it's something that we can modify. So if you look at a team like the Vikings or you look at a team like Houston, if they have J.J. Watt in there and they have other guys in there that might had a lesser chance of being hurt on grass, wouldn't the economics favor doing that? I mean, it's just something you have to look at. I think the teams now just accept this, and I think it may need to be looked at again.
So the prognosis is what, Doc, for him? What is the prognosis for a normal ACL? It's a very fixable injury, right?
Right. It's one of the best surgeries we do in all of medicine. He should be back 100%, and the ligament that's put in there is stronger than a normal ACL. So the rate of re-injury is fairly low, and I think he'll be back 100%.
Okay. Luck, you were way ahead on the curve with Luck. You've been dead on from a distance. It's almost amazing how good you've been on it. You said that he was going to have a problem. You said that something was fishy. You said that there was something else wrong. And then you said he might require more surgery. All of that's turned out to be true. As a matter of fact, their statement this week was, we have to stop fooling around and find out what's wrong. We owe it to the player. They obviously are not sure why he is still having pain. You are one of the foremost shoulder guys in the country. What's the deal?
Okay, I think he's having biceps tendonitis. And I think I mentioned last time that when someone has a labrum tear that's defined on the MRI, Mike, only 25% of the time is that the source of pain. 75% of the time, the biceps, which pulls the labrum off, is the source of the pain. I'll give you an example. Jimmy Andrews actually sent me a kid. He was a pitcher. He tore his labrum 4 times. And the reason is because the biceps kept pulling off, and the biceps was really the bad actor, but you can't see it on the MRI. We fixed him. He was back pitching in 9 months after having 9 years of 4 labrum surgeries. My point is this. You have to be able to either diagnose it preoperatively, or it can be a complication postoperatively. And here's what happens. If you have a cup and you overflow it, it's going to roll out. It's going to roll it onto the floor. In the shoulder, when it fills up with blood, Mike, it goes down what's called a bicipital groove. It goes down into a well, and it scars in the biceps tendon. And here's the point. Time's not likely to get him better.
Really?
I read that continued rehabilitation with the goal of having him come back on the field next season, that's not likely to happen. They're kidding themselves. He needs to have it addressed now, free up that scar, do something with the biceps, and get him started.
So he needs the shoulder to be operated on again? Is that what you believe? Or is it the bicep that needs to be operated on?
Well, the biceps, I think, is probably it's the most common reason for reoperation.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah. So the bottom line is most of the people I operate on, Mike, have already had 2 or 3 surgeries. So the bottom line is we got to do a little better job of recognizing a pre-op, or if it's a post-op complication, just address it.
Can you tell by where the pain is whether it's bicep tendonitis?
Yes, we have a testing system that can tell that. Yes, absolutely.
Is it well known, or I mean, would whoever the orthopedic surgeon is know that that's the case and check for that? Would that be commonplace?
Yes, it's getting the docs are getting better at recognizing and diagnosing it. But here's another issue: they're a little bit hesitant to do a biceps tendon surgery in a thrower because if you reattach it to the bone. We've had incidences where they fractured their arm up to 8 months after surgery from the high torque from the drill hole in the bone. So in a pitcher or a thrower, they've been hesitant to do that. But in this technique that I've done now almost 1,100 of, we attach it to the other tendon, if you will, the other biceps tendon. We don't have that problem. So, I think Andrew has to move on. I think he's going to need surgery, and the sooner the better is my guess.
So you think...
I'm not sure I'm right, but I'm not sure I'm right.
Well, you've been right all along about the fact that you said he wasn't going to come back, and you also said they're fooling themselves with the pain, and turns out that they shut him down, and now he's gone for the season. They're not even fooling him. They said this week in a statement, we're going to go now find out what the heck the problem is. We've been fooling. We got to get to the bottom of it. We don't know what the cause of the pain is now. Well,
the problem is the MRI doesn't show it. They gave him a cortisone shot, and it didn't work. And that's because if the tendon is completely scarred in, when I do one of these surgeries, I got to completely carve it out of that pulley, which it usually glides easily in. So it's stuck in there most likely, and that's the most likely reason for him not being able to progress.
Unbelievable. And do you see anything that could be done, change of shoe, do something different that can stop? We've seen a lot of these ACLs in space with especially quarterbacks, running backs. Bridgewater had a dislocation. Cook had one. He was having a great year. Cook had one, the running back up in Minnesota. We just saw Deshaun Watson. Is there anything reasonable that could be done that would stop these injuries from happening?
I think if you go back to grass, it'll get lower. Now, you can have other injuries on grass. You can slip. You can have groin injuries. You can not dislocate, but you can injure your ACL on grass. But the chances are much lower, and our study shows that. And I think it's an economic issue that these teams have moved on, and I think they got to revisit it if their athletes are that valuable to them.
No, that's true. I mean, listen, economics plays a big deal in all of it. Listen, thanks very much. Enjoy your trip to California, and we'll chat next week. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Doc, very much. Doc O'Brien on Deshaun Watson. and on Luck. And it sounds like Luck's got to give Doc a call, is what it really sounds to, or somebody better, because he is one of the foremost shoulder guys, and maybe he can figure it out, because it doesn't seem like they're doing a good job. I'm not knocking any of the doctors out there. I'm not saying I don't even know who the doctor is. But I'm saying whatever it is, they said this week they just have not found the reason why he's having such pain, and he has already been shut down for the rest of the season, back after